I thought if one thing were clear by now, it's that you and I play things a little differently. Why don't we wait and see who comes out on top? I thought you were willing to settle for second, Commander. I've never settled for anything in my life. I know what I want, I know what I've got, and you'd be lucky to do so well, Lieutenant.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are veteran Trekkies, and Dory is a rookie Trekkie, and we are taking her on her first journey through Star Trek: The Next Generation. Today, discussing an episode I'm excited to hear Dory's reaction to, the Season 6 episode Second Chances. Original air date is May 22nd, 1993, and as always, we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
So, Dory, just to interject for a moment, this episode was going under the working title Too Many Rikers, spelled T-W-O. Glad you enjoyed that.
Listen, before this episode, I would have said there's no such thing as too many Rikers.
Okay, that's fair.
After this episode, I think there can be, I think there can be too many Rikers.
Yeah. And
Okay.
it's exactly one extra Riker.
Yes. Okay, so the Enterprise is orbiting Nirvala 4. This is exactly what they said in the opening, because I was like, I'm not summarizing. We're just putting exactly what they're saying. The Enterprise is orbiting Nirvala 4, waiting for an opportunity to retrieve scientific data left there by Starfleet researchers when they were forced to evacuate 8 years ago. Okay, we're in 10 forward. Riker is playing the bone in a silky looking shirt. Oh yeah. Dr. C is in
They always got to have him in that cobalt blue.
always, it's his color. Dr. C's in like this olive cold shoulder top and like some interesting brown pants, but whatever. The top is cool. I mean, I'm not one for cold shoulder. Love it on Dr. C though. And Troy is looking like Meg from Disney's animated movie Hercules.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
I love
a
it.
compliment.
She looks
Yeah.
incredible. The hair, the dress, I love it. She looks amazing. So, okay, Riker's like, hey, any requests? And Troy shouts out Nightbird, just like the way how I shout out Tiny Dancer every time someone asks for a request.
I think it might be a play on Freebird.
I kept thinking about that too.
Yeah, because that's like a concert meme too, to like request Freebird.
Yeah. And Riker just like turns away from her and just like asks again any requests, and Troy's like, Nightbird. I love it.
I love the look that
Riker
he gives her after that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is not psyched to play Nightbird. And so Troy tells Dr. C that Riker's been trying unsuccessfully to get through this solo for like 10 years. So, you know, they start, Riker's looking anxious, solo's about to begin, and then saved by Data. Data calls Riker to the bridge, and so they will be able to transport down to the surface of Nirvala 4 earlier than anticipated. You know what, that actually doesn't make a difference. I don't know why they went on and on about them doing it earlier. Doesn't matter. Then plan truly does not change anything.
Yeah, I think it's purely just to have that moment where he gets saved by Data.
Yeah.
They needed a reason for Data to interrupt him.
So we learned that Riker was actually on the Potemkin, who was part of the rescue mission 8 years ago that went to that planet. And so they've got this transport window that will last only 26 minutes. So, but if they can't get everything in the first trip, there are 2 more transporter windows for the next couple days. So we're good. But then after that, there's no more transport window for another 8 years. So, okay, we get the Way team. We're now on the base. Away team is Data, Worf, Riker, and some lady. She
has no lines.
there.
She's just there.
Yeah.
She's just there in the background. And Riker's like, oh, I remember this place being messy. And then, gasp, someone is approaching. Gasp. And then I gasped for real.
Yeah.
It was messy Riker.
Yeah.
And I was also shocked. Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, listen, I gasped for reals.
Because when
And
peek behind the curtain. This is our first time recording in a while because like just a lot of different life stuff for all three of us. When we did our, because I don't remember what I told you in our tidbit, but I remember specifically Jeff and I were trying to figure out how to give you a hint about the episode without spoiling that Riker, the second Riker, was going to be there. And I think I phrased the tidbit in such a way that it was like a play. Like if you knew second Riker was showing up, like you'd know, but it wouldn't actually, like, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know.
Oh, I have no recollection of what the what the clue was or my prediction or anything from this episode.
It was along the lines of, like, Riker comes face to face with himself.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Oh, you know what? I remember a little bit. I feel like my prediction had something to do with Kyle.
Yeah, it could have been.
I mean, he was mentioned in this episode, so
Maybe it was he comes face to face with his past.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. He comes face to face with his past.
Anywho, yeah. Kyle was mentioned in this episode, so.
Yeah. But yeah,
okay.
I was so, because I didn't want to spoil that for you, because I was just so excited for you to have that moment. I'm like,
yeah, I was
he is.
gooped,
Yeah.
gagged, everything. I literally, my next note was who, what, where, why, when, and how. And then, okay, I do want to note that the shots that they have, most of the time with both Rikers, actually look okay.
Yeah.
There's one that's not great. There's one that's really not great. But for the most part, they actually, like, it looked good. And there was a moment later on that was with editing that actually looked pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, I think they have him, like, hand himself something or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when they're, like, working on the thing and he's under the table.
Yeah.
That editing was really good.
At one point, like, he grabs him by the shoulder, and it's just like, oh man, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this episode was actually the first directing outage for one of our
By
cast
LeVar
members.
Burton.
LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton.
Directed
I wrote it
episode, yeah.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I wrote directed by LeVar Burton. Good for him.
Oh yeah, he had a blast doing it.
Yeah, and that is a
good.
very tricky, like, having to do like a split screen doubling thing. Like that's pretty, like, hard for your first time, like, directing.
Oh yeah, extremely.
Okay, so we kind of get a bit of an idea of what happened with the Rikers. So this Riker, who of course, you have to have expected a nickname.
Yeah.
Twiker.
Twiker?
Because twin Riker.
Twin Riker.
Twiker.
My brain is so, like, gay Twitter rotted that I'm like, Twink Riker?
Okay, fair.
Yeah, so I refer to Twiker and Riker.
Okay.
Those are two different people for me in this. Okay, so Twiker was part of Riker was part of the crew that was the rescue team 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he was the last one out, and Twiker, they couldn't get a lock on his distortion, he couldn't get a lock on him, the distortion field was too strong. Mm-hmm. And so then, what did I write? Oh no, I was like birth stories, both. I wrote the word both.
Birth stories.
So Riker's like, yeah, birth story. But like, Riker is like, okay, well, like both stories can't be true at the same time. Mm-hmm. And like, you good with Dr. C checking you out? And Twiker's like, of course, let's fucking do it. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like people were not freaking out enough that there were two Rikers.
Yeah.
And that Riker or Twiker were not freaking out enough. Like, this feels like a much bigger deal than they were, like, taking it.
Yeah.
I mean, Riker was, what do you call it? Riker was clearly stunned and then immediately kind of, like, aggressive / hostile towards himself.
Yeah.
So there is that.
It was
but
bizarre.
yeah, you're right. Everyone's trying to be like, all right, well, in the end, this is a guy who's been on this planet for the last 8 years and felt like he was abandoned, and now he's not. So as weird as this is, we have to be normal.
Yeah, I feel like this deserved more fanfare in terms of like freaking out of like, holy shit.
Yeah, I agree
Or
with that.
like it definitely deserved some original recipe Riker is the only one having like what I would deem like a realistic reaction to this situation. Everyone else seems like a little too unbothered by this. I agree with Dory on that point. That
Yeah,
like not that they have to treat him like shit or anything, but like no one seems like, at least from what I remember, because it's been a little bit since I watched the episode. Everyone no one seems like that awkward and just accepting him as like, oh, I guess there's just another Riker now. Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't.
Everyone
People
is
seem
very
to
chill.
Yeah,
and
people
I
seemed a
feel like this
little
was
too chill
not-
for me.
Yeah, like this should be a bit more of a holy shit moment, but I mean, I guess, well, I mean, these guys have seen weirder, I suppose, at this point.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, so, okay, Dr. C then is checking out Twyker, and then then Picard comes in. And the way that Twyker's eyes followed Picard from the moment he walked into the room over to him, and I was like, wow, John Will in all versions.
Yeah. They're in love in every universe.
Yep. Dr. C's like, yeah, they are genetically the same. Doesn't think that Twyker is a clone, and like brain patterns are basically the same. So like, yeah. And then I wrote, does Twyker know Troy at this point? Because I didn't remember when they had their relationship.
Yeah.
And so then we get team meeting. And I'm literally just going to read what Geordi said because I can't be... You know what? Actually, I can summarize this. I'm just thinking about it. Okay, basically, they tried to get a hold on Riker. It worked, but at the same time the distortion field like kicked in or something, and so then it also didn't work. So we had the one version of Riker come up and the other version stay down. So it's like legit just Riker, two Rikers.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Look at
sliding
me go.
doors.
I'm summarizing. Oh my god. Yes.
Except they meet each other.
This is sliding doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit. Oh my god.
It's like
Oh
if
my
the
God.
two, what was it, Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like if the two Gwyneth Paltrows met each other.
Yeah. That would be gooped in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's legit two of them. Okay, so both Rikers are real. They both materialized from a complete pattern, and they're like, we're gonna make Twyker feel at home. Everyone be fucking cool about it. But they still have to like retrieve the database, the computer in the station. It's like not super operational. Some of the components have been removed. Apparently Twyker used them to keep station's radiation shield operational. But they will probably need his help with getting shit. But Dr. C's like, I don't know, maybe don't bring him back to his like trauma bunker, if you will.
Yeah.
But Troy's like, I'll do it. I'll speak to Twyker. But Riker does not look super thrilled about that.
No, he immediately has like, all right.
Yeah. And then we see Twyker, and he's in yellow. He gets the yellow uniform, just so people remember who's who, I guess. Color code. Woohoo. Just like real twins. Okay, so Twyker rushes over to Troy, and he like picks her up into a hug and kisses her a bunch of times. And I'm like, oh shit, are they together at this point in his timeline or whatever? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, they were still together when he got stuck on the planet.
Yeah. I do want to mention though, it's very interesting that, 8 hours, 8 years later, Twyker still somehow manages to look exactly like Riker, even though they have led incredibly different lives over the last 8 years. I find it super unlikely that they would look as exactly the same as they did.
I was gonna say earlier too that they wouldn't have the same brain patterns because,
They've had different experiences.
Yeah, they've had vastly different experiences, and like that's a
Also,
big factor.
when we met Riker, he was clean shaven and had a different haircut. So the fact that this Riker made the exact same decisions to grow an incredibly finely groomed beard that he decided to maintain on this ship, like the base for 8 years, that is a wild reach.
Yeah.
That is a like Reed Richards style reach. It's so big.
Yeah, I think like okay, so they're both the same guy, so I don't think it's that like that out of line to say like, oh, they both would have decided to have a beard at some point, especially since he was like on a deserted planet, so he didn't have a lot to do.
So
there's not a lot
meticulously taken care, because even when they found him, his clothes were all mussed up and his like hair was a little messy. But I would argue Riker's hair in the episode a few episodes ago in the asylum thing, his hair was messier there. So
well, maybe he just like I said, he's got to be bored a lot, so maybe he just fills the time by like trimming his beard.
I did write in my notes, was Riker just destined to have this haircut and beard?
Yes.
Okay, so Troy tells Twyker that her and Riker are just friends now. Mm-hmm. And so they were supposed to, like 8 years ago, they were supposed to meet on Ryza 6 weeks into his tour, but they never did because... they say, they're like, oh, he earned a promotion. And I was like, he earned a promotion within 6 fucking weeks? Mm-hmm. But then they're like, oh, it's because of his rescue mission. He just got a promotion. I was like, that is also truly wild to like earn a promotion 6 weeks in for a rescue mission. Like, yeah, you deserve a congratulations, but a promotion seems like a wild escalation. But listen, what do I know about the military or whatever?
Yeah.
Nothing. So
we're not sure how heroic or whatever he was, so
yeah. Okay, so then Twyker gets up to monologue. And he says, I had a lot of time on my hands when I was down on that station. There were days that I was so lonely I thought I might lose my mind. Do you know how I made it through? I thought if I hung on for one more day, they'd rescue me and maybe I'd see you again. I was like, that's pretty cute.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. That's pretty cute. But Troy's like, oh, by the way, Picard wants to know if you feel kind of up for helping us with the database. And he's like, his mouth says absolutely, but his eyes scream absolutely not.
Yeah.
But then Twyker's like, Troy, I know your feelings have changed, but mine haven't, and I want us to be together. And she's like, okay, cool, bye.
Yeah.
And so then we get our second window. It's 36 minutes. Twyker is late, which is like, just Riker is so mad at this. Mm-hmm. But listen, Twyker's been on Twyker time for 8 years,
yeah.
So schedules are, gonna be getting a bit of an adjustment. And Riker's like, hey, maybe we should tell Kyle about this. And Twyker's like, oh, I'm sure he'll be psyched to hear there's like 2 of us now. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think this was actually the part that I thought was edited really well, because I think Twyker is on the floor underneath the like console and Riker is sitting at like in front of it. And this, they kind of go back and forth. I think this was the editing that I thought was pretty good. Okay, so Twyker is also fine with like not talking to Kyle, but does agree that like because he's like, oh yeah, I spoke to Kyle because like he was here when they offered me like the air, like if you were there to offer me the Ares. And Twyker's like, hey, like I don't care for Kyle, but I agree that I don't understand why you didn't take the Ares. And I was like, how dare?
Yeah.
So like stuff with something on the ship isn't working. I don't know. Twyker offers to like stay and like fix it, and then he'll come back in the third window, but Riker's like, no. I actually thought they were both gonna get stuck there until the next window, like the day later. Yeah. And they would have to like discuss shit and like have dramatic character moments. That is not what happened.
Yeah, like sort of like locked in a room until you fix your problems type deal.
Yeah. I thought, ooh, we gonna have a bottle episode or something? We did not have a bottle episode or something. We got the or something.
I'm just scrolling through the episode and I noticed that Twiker's beard is higher up.
It's a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different than original
yeah.
recipe Riker.
Yeah, I did notice that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, so Riker's like, yeah, we're not doing that. You're not staying here. You're coming up. But then like Twiker starts to walk away, and Riker's like, no, I gave you an order, Lieutenant. And I was like, ooh.
Oh yeah, this is the one when they're compositing doesn't look that great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's why I wrote. I was like, what is my note? I wrote not great, but I'll allow it. I think it's because of the editing on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so back on the ship, Troy gets some tea from the replicator and notices a scroll tied in silver ribbon on a platter of apples, but full disclosure, I legit thought it was a platter of potatoes.
That's fair.
I thought it was red potatoes. I had to watch it a second time to be like, oh, that's apples. That definitely makes more sense than a plate of potatoes just on a table.
I can see why you thought that, because they're like, they're not great looking apples. They got a lot of brown spots.
They're more like a reddish pink, like dark reddish pinky.
Yeah.
It's not like the classic, like Red Delicious or like like a cartoon style apple.
Yeah.
Like
Why can't they be like
whatever.
alien apples or something?
And they are a little lumpy.
Yeah. So
for apples.
potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a note that says, meet me in transporter room 3 at 1900 hours. It's important. Oh, I wrote, Twiker is, I thought that this was going to be, like, he was going to meet her in the transporter room and be like, let's do Rise Up for real this time. No. So she finds another scroll with another silver ribbon with a pink flower this time on the transporter console. And so he's just sending her on a scavenger hunt at this point, because then there's in the note, it says, it pulses unendingly. All through the night, seek out the crystal that powers our flight. I felt so proud of myself. I was like, that's fucking engineering, bitch. Let's fucking go. I did find it funny, though, that, like, the first note was, like, go here this time. And then the rest of them were, like, riddles and shit. But I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Okay, so then she goes to engineering, and I feel like this was a poor place to put it. There was like another scroll just like dangling on the chamber, on the dilithium crystal chamber thing, which I feel has got to be some kind of fire hazard.
I love
something.
that Geordi's just like, can I help you? And like he didn't even notice that it was there.
Yeah,
well, then
and that's
my
the
favorite thing
like,
of that is her response, because Geordi sees her reach for the thing, and then he's like, "Can I help you, counselor?" And Troy goes, "No, thank you."
Like, okay.
And Geordi's like, "What the fuck just happened?" So then this scroll number 3 says, "What the future holds, no one can know, but forward we look and forward we go." And I'm like, okay, that's obviously 10 forward. Like, come on, let's go. And then I wrote, I will die if Twiker is playing Nightbird seamlessly in 10 forward. And so then we're in 10 forward, and on the table there is a small vase for the flower, which I actually think was like kind of a brilliant idea. It was got like a little empty vase for that flower. Excellent. That is so smart. And then
that's
a box.
What if she didn't bring the flower with her though?
Yeah.
That
she
sucked.
would. You know, Troy's not going from one. She's not going to put a flower back. She's on this mission. She's going. She's got her momentum. She's not, stopping, starting. She's on a roll. Mm-hmm. So then Twiker kind of like appears in the background. Oh, no, I wrote he lurks in the background. Twiker actually lurks a few times in this episode. It's weird. It's fine, whatever. Okay, so then she opens the box, and in there is I wrote an art of Janoran Falls. I don't know what actually this medium is. I could not tell. And this is, I think they said they went to Janoran Falls like right before he went on the Potemkin or something. And then I think they then said that he phasered that, but I'm not entirely sure if I remember that correctly or not. Mm-hmm. But then Twiker's like, come, let's...
Sorry, I'm scrolling through the episode, and the picture of the waterfall. He did that like on a piece of metal from the ship with a phaser. He says he did it with a phaser. Okay, so I was right that
it was phaser. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so he etched it in the metal.
Oh, okay. Did we know Riker had artistic abilities? I don't know.
No, because
No.
I think he mentions that, like, you know, he had a lot of free time, so he
He
just...
taught himself how to phaser art.
I mean, 8 years with nothing to do, you're just, like, doodling. Like, you'd eventually get good.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, that's true. Hey, if Riker didn't want to go back to the what we called? Oh my gosh, Starfleet.
to
Oh my god, Starfleet. Then he could have just like started a new career as like a metal phaser artist, I guess.
I mean, he could have. I mean, in the future, like, you don't have to worry about your career being, like, livable.
Yeah. Oh, I guess he can still do it on his spare time, I guess, because like Data still does art.
Yeah.
Does his art, well, you know, Data-ing. Oh yeah, Riker's like, no, sorry, Twiker is like, let's stay and chat. It's nice to be with people, but kind of strange. And he's like, got to get used to a schedule. So this is like adjustment following orders. And Twiker's like, yeah, I wanted to make captain by the time he was 35, but he's like a little bit behind schedule now. Yeah, for real. And then this guy comes over to serve them. And this is a wild outfit. He's wearing a green top and pants, but it's like, but the sleeves are like green and black houndstooth. It's an interesting look. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's just something. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting choice. Okay, so Twiker feels like this is like a setback, but this whole thing's 8 years. Yeah, it's a setback, but he's determined to get what he wants, and he talks about that like he realized that no one was coming for him, and like everyone probably thought he died, and like they probably get a memorial, and that was like some kind of comfort to him, and like maybe Troy would go to that memorial, and he was hoped that he could like make Troy feel his presence so she would wait for him. And then Troy's like, yeah, I was super bummed we didn't go meet at Ryza. And I was like, ooh, is Troy gonna fuck Twiker? I really hope not. I am honestly not on board with this.
Yeah.
So Troy was also hoping that Riker was thinking about her after they drift apart. And Troy's like, hey, maybe like this is what did I write? Holy shit. This is an adjacent kind of way that we can okay, I get it. Okay. She's like, basically they were like looking up in theory at like the same sky, thinking about each other, but like differently, because she didn't know he was like, there was a second Riker thinking about her. She wanted like, as you called him, original recipe Riker to be thinking of him. So this is like an adjacent version, I guess.
Yeah. The way they talk about it in the scene though is like so. I'm not usually a sappy person, but to me it was just really romantic and like.
Yeah,
super sweet.
I legit thought it was a very well written scene.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just
want to make sure to convey like just how like how emotional this conversation they're having is, and that they're both like holding back tears and shit, and yeah. I wasn't on board either, but it was like
because I'm not making it sound cute or pretty or whatever.
Yeah.
Because because I'm not on board.
Yeah, but
I do think they acted like the actors were really good in the scene.
Yeah,
Troy
I definitely
is magnificent in this episode. She has so many subtle scenes.
Yeah, I think them getting together is a bad idea, but I don't hate the direction of like why they would be tempted to, like, you know, of like this is. Like, and I think that's a really, like, good bit of tension and conflict for the episode, is that, like, yeah, these are two people that were in love with each other, right? And you know, she's moved on with the reality of their current situation, and he's still stuck in the past. And, you know,
He's very pushy about it, but at the same time, he's been alone for 8 years, which I feel like is understated throughout the episode. Like, this guy is dealing with very serious trauma.
yeah they don't like, there's no like
no real acknowledgement of that.
Yeah, Troy tries to give him a bit of therapy, but, like, he's so occupied with, like, trying to get back together that he kind of... Yeah, I don't fully love how he goes about a lot of this, because he does seem really pushy, and, like... Oh, as sweet as that whole thing earlier in the episode was, where he's like, you know, the only thing that, like, made me... that, like, got me through it was thinking of getting back to you. It's like, that's very sweet and romantic, but also I'm like, that's a lot to put on someone.
It is.
Yeah.
Like,
It's. I mean, okay. So here's the thing that that this scene does. It doesn't do anything new, sadly. But
Yeah.
what it does do, it does a very good job of, because there have been other scenes in other films, even very big films, that have had this kind of what do you call it? This kind of interaction between the characters, where a character has been gone for X amount of years, now they're back, and the other person has moved on. Fuck. What's that Tom Hanks one that's real? Castaway.
Castaway, yeah.
Even,
I was thinking of
even that had
Castaway.
a
Oh my
moment
God.
like that, and like it's the same thing. It's what can that person feel in that moment?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, because I don't think either person is wrong in that scenario, to be honest. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's,
Yeah.
like, I don't think that's, like, a fair thing to put on someone, but I also, like, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to survive, and, like, all the shit you went through, it's totally valid to, like, express those feelings, and, like, it's not a fair situation, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, not, like, dealing with it isn't really gonna be fair.
Yep. Yeah, and there really isn't a way out of it that that both sides win.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay, so then Riker goes to see Picard, and he's like, Twiker thinks that the only way to retrieve the database is to, like directly accessing... Why am I saying that word? Accessing. Holy shit. The main core underneath the station. Riker thinks it's too dangerous, but, like, it does have a better chance of succeeding than the other way that he says, but I don't remember what that is. Who cares? Picard's like, yeah, listen, I think it's worth the risk. And then Riker and Twiker are now in engineering. And I wrote, this is a better shot. The two, like the wide shot of them
Yeah.
at the consoles. That looked good. Riker is pissed at Twiker because Twiker went to Picard with his plan after Riker rejected it the day before. And like, it's honestly so weird to a certain point of just the two of them. It's kind of jarring.
Yeah.
But Riker's like, I don't like your plan, but my commanding officer is on board with it, so I'm following orders, and I'm your commanding officer, and are expected to do the same. If you can't, there's no place for him on Riker's away team.
Like,
So,
Riker does have to put his foot down in this
He does.
scenario. Like,
Yes.
I know they didn't do a good job at the beginning of establishing that, like they should cut him a little bit of slack, because I know, like, his very first thing, they're just like 0800 means 0800, you know, and he's just like, look, I'm sorry, I haven't had a clock in 8 years.
Yeah.
This is
But
what I mean about
Riker's-
them, like, vastly understating the situation that he's just gotten out of.
Yeah. And, like, that's another thing of, like, it just playing off of, like, I think people are, like, a little too chill about the situation.
Yeah.
Because I understand, like, needing his help and all that stuff, but, like, I don't know. I think, like, seeing as he's been, like, out of service for, like, 8 years, like, out of the service for 8 years, like, like, should he really just be back on duty? Like,
They did ask him.
right away? Yeah, but, like,
Like-
a lot of people, like, act against their own best interests. Like, so many people are like,
That's
no,
true,
I'm
yeah.
fine, when they aren't. You
Yeah,
know?
good point.
that's like everyone on this crew.
Well, that's also part of the reason that
Yeah.
also part of the reason that Troy did it, and like, Troy would be the person to figure out whether or not he's being honest about that or not.
Yeah, I mean, but, I
I
mean...
don't know why I double
the
negative though, but
Okay. I know I'm expecting a lot out of Star Trek, but Troy can't be the only counselor on the ship. Like,
No,
there's
that
like
is true.
2,000 people, so, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be her, and it shouldn't be her because of conflict of interest and personal...
She offered.
She shouldn't have.
Yeah, but the drama.
Yeah. I mean, unless, listen, I forget. Listen, if she was offering, like, as a friend, like, to be there, that's different. But, like, to try to be, like, a straight-up therapist to your ex is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is this episode takes a lot of liberties in terms of like how realistic the situation is, in order to put the characters in a very interesting position.
Yeah, you
And
want to
that's
get to
fair.
the conflict as quick as possible. Like, you want to, like, obviously the writers want to deal with the Troy relationship stuff and the whole Riker, like, facing who he used to be kind of deal. Like, because the whole trope
Yeah.
is that, like, you know, you actually would probably not like meeting yourself, especially an older version of yourself. So
Yeah,
I
that's true.
understand them wanting to get to that as quick as possible. But it's still very noticeable. Like, for whatever reason, it like doesn't
Yeah, I'd
it
agree.
doesn't pass the sort of suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, that is definitely the problem. Oh, well, I mean, also to be fair, we are in a
Yeah,
position
for
where
sure.
we're analyzing it, so we have that going for us as well.
Yeah, I don't think it like super takes away from the episode, but it's like, guys, come on.
Yeah. Okay, so now Dr. C and Troy are doing Worf's Klingon exercises, and Dr. C is getting the hottest of hot goss. And I love Dr. C, but I do not agree with her in
Yeah.
this particular case, because Dr. C's
She just wants
Yeah.
to see her friend get it on.
she's like, yeah, Troy, you're like, your course with Twyker doesn't have to be the same course that you had with Riker. I'm like, Dr. C, maybe you're not the counselor for a reason.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't like it. I am absolutely not on board
Yeah,
with this.
I don't agree with her either. It's like, no, get back with your ex. It's fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, this is so weird, because like that's what this fundamentally is: getting back together with your ex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Not that it's always a bad thing to do that, but like, given how their relationship went, like, this is very like weird advice to give to, like, oh, whatever, like, just
Yes.
don't worry about it. Hook up with him. Who cares?
Yeah. So then Twyker already enters the villa, and Dr. C then she exits stage left immediately. And then Twyker does some like half-ass stretching in the background. And he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm doing Klingon exercises because Worf teaches a class. I love it. And Twyker then instead does like a Tai Chi move. And okay, at one point they're kind of doing these like movements at the same time, and honestly all I thought about was like, they look like they were airbending.
Although I have to say, their outfits, their like gis or whatever, look very comfy.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did look soft. Yeah. So okay, then he does this like move towards Troy, and she takes him down. I love that, until I didn't love it immediately after. So yeah, she's like on top of him on the ground, and he's like, whoa, and then they start kissing and rolling around on the floor, and I'm like,
They fucking start like making out and shit in the middle of like the yoga studio. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
It did look like a nice kiss though.
So then I'm having a very hard time with this episode. It's really testing me.
Fair enough.
Okay, so then Troy goes and meets Riker in 10 Forward, and he's like, you don't have to ask my permission to be with with Twyker.
Me.
Yeah. But they also kind of like acknowledge this is kind of like, it's low-key kind of weird, but also like our past, this is the choices that we made, and this is where we are now. And then Riker, this was honestly such a good thing, because he's like, he goes, Sister Troy, do me a favor, be careful. And she goes, well, I know you and he have had some problems. And then Riker goes, that's not what I'm talking about. if he had gotten off the planet instead of me, don't you think he would have made the same choices that I made? I just don't want you to be hurt again. And I was like, oh shit, that's actually a really fucking good point. That, like he...
Like, that guy,
like
that guy is still Riker, and especially given that he is an old, like, especially given that he is the version of Riker that, like, used to be, he knows that, like, he knows what kind of person he was, and he's like, don't you think, like, you know, if he's the same guy I was back then, like, he's probably gonna make the same choices and have the same priorities.
Yeah. I just thought that was, like, a real... I like that he wasn't, like, no, like, abandon this whole thing. But he was like, we're, like, let's be fucking serious for a second. Let's be real.
Yeah,
that, like,
just...
This is the reality of this scene is, like...
Yeah, like,
we don't want deja vu all over again.
Know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Okay, and then we get a poker scene. We haven't had a poker scene in so long. So we got Worf, Data, Riker, poker. And then, Twiker comes in. He's gonna play. I did love... I don't remember if Data's ever worn this visor before, but this hollow visor was really fun.
That was certainly a choice,
I enjoyed it. I know he's worn visors in the past. I just don't remember
this
if he's
specific
worn
one?
this particular one. Yeah.
I do like it.
Yeah, they're playing... It's getting, like, tense. They're, like... Worf has folded, Data has folded, and now it's just Twiker and Riker going at it. And so then Twiker goes, if one thing were clear now, it's that you and I play things a little differently. And then Riker says, why don't we wait and see who comes out on top? And then Twiker says, I thought you were willing to settle for second, Commander. Because, yeah, Twiker is, like, very hung up on the fact that Riker is not a captain.
Yeah. Well, remember, like, that, like, Riker at that time, like, that was...
Yeah,
that
wanted
was his,
to
like,
be the captain before he was 35,
that was his, like,
I think.
singular goal.
And now he's meeting a self that not only gave up that goal, but also gave up the love of his life. And he's like, what do I have to show?
Wait till Twiker learns that he's refused command multiple times. But then Riker says, I've never settled for anything in my life. I know what I want. I know what I've got. And you'd be lucky to do so well, Lieutenant. I love that. I thought that was really great. Riker has some good lines this episode. And then... Twiker turns into a, like, child for a second, and he's like, you've always had the better hand in everything. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean you've always had
the fact that he got left behind.
But he says always. You've always had the better hand. How has he always had the better hand? He doesn't...
Well, okay, think of it this way.
This is one thing.
He sees himself as a different person than a fundamentally different person now than the person that he's seeing before him. He sees a person who is very confident in what he's got, but from his perspective, he's given up everything that he had ever wanted. And he had the chances to do it, whereas Tom did not. He's like...
We're not calling him that.
Well, like, I could have done...
I will not call him that.
All right, fine, whatever. But the point is that, like, he sees it as... If I were in your position, I would have had these things. I wouldn't have settled like the way I see you have settled.
He's like, you squandered everything I wanted. And I, like, while I was dreaming of these things that you just gave up, right? Stuck on this fucking planet.
Okay.
Like...
Because, like, I was interpreting to make... Because to me, it just sounded like a situation where there's, like, two kids, and he's, like, implying that the parents love that Riker more. Yeah. Rather than, like... Because I'm like, you don't know half of what... Like, you don't know what his hand was for these 8 years. You know some parts, so you don't... It just feels over dramatic at this point.
Yeah, he considers himself to be the more ambitious out of the two of them. Like that's what he takes pride in, because that's the person that he was back then. That's what he prioritized. And as from what he can see, Riker has got the better hand. He didn't get left behind. He got to do all of these things he had the opportunity to do all these things that he felt like he should have been able to do instead. and he just let them go.
I do think that Jonathan Frakes did a really good job of acting Twyker as, like, he's definitely still Riker, but, like, not the Riker we know.
Adjacent. It's like...
He said that was the most difficult part of this particular role, and he felt really proud of it.
It's like he was Ariel, and then there's Ariel italics, if that makes sense. Yeah, he did a good
job of being, like, a less mature Riker.
Yeah. Okay, so Troy and... I think Riker goes to see Troy, or I don't remember who goes to see her, or each other. Maybe he goes to see Troy. And he's like, guess what? I'm leaving to go on the Gandhi in a week. And Troy's like, I see. And he's like, well, after 6 months, then I can bring family on board, and we can, if we get married. And then, but Troy's like, no. You fucking said this to me fucking last time. And we're fucking not doing this again. And I love this for her, because then she was like, it took her a while to, like, get over what happened, but she doesn't want to go through it again. She's worked hard to make a life for herself on the Enterprise, and she's happy there. And I was like,
exactly.
Yes, Troy.
Because this is also a thing I don't like about him, is that, like, he's just like, oh yeah, after 6 months, like, we can get married and you can come live with me. And it's like, do you care at all about her life? Like, what she wants to do? Like...
Yeah, she's on the fucking Enterprise. You think she's gonna, like, go to another fucking ship to be with...
Like, yeah.
Twyker?
Like, just give all this up, like, for you on a whim? Like, nah, dude.
Yeah, because he's like, I can't stay here because of Riker. And I'm like, I feel like that's a you problem, man. Or, well, I guess it is him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a great idea anyway to, like, keep them on the same ship.
Oh, no.
But...
No, 2 Rikers, that's too much. That's... no. Oh, my God. And, okay, so...
Was it
I did write. I was like, we can't have 2 Rikers in the ship, because at one point, like, the tension between them would just break, and one of 2 things would happen. They'll make out with each other, or they will just do a bone off, like a trombone off or something, or I don't know.
I was about to say, those 2 are the same thing.
A bone for me and a bone for you.
I'm trying to come up with...
Listen, one way or another, someone's getting boned. I'm
trying to come up with a Too Fast, Too Furious pun. It's like 2 Riker, 2 something. Yeah, I've been trying to workshop it in my head, but I'm not getting very far. I know there's one in there.
Okay, so Troy's like, listen, okay, like, not now, but not no, I guess. And I... then was like, okay, I feel like Twyker's gonna die. And then we get the 3rd window, so we're back on the base, and Data... so it's Data and Worf, and Data says, Lieutenant, I am curious about something. If you met a double of yourself, would you have trouble interacting with him? And then Worf says, I think so. And Data goes, why? And Worf goes, I am not easy to get along with. I'm like, yes, I can relate, Worf. But here's the thing that is wild to me. Data has met Lore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Data does not acknowledge war in this episode, which is a very weird choice.
And like, does Data not know twins exist, and that he's literally meant Lore? Like, we've had doubles of people before. This is not.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they don't really acknowledge that.
I think so. I think even with twins, you are 2 different people. They aren't literally you.
Yes.
And Lore is
that
like,
is true.
Lore is not Data. Like, he is very different from Data.
That's
so
yes.
So
really
it's not like a equivalent situation. But
I just feel like
it is noticeably missing a mention. Like that, like even though it's not exactly parallel, it's still weird that they didn't bring it up.
Yeah. I acknowledge it's not exactly the same, but it is, like, moderately relevant.
Yeah, it's definitely relevant.
Okay, so Twyker and Riker go into this cavern to get into, like, the core for the ship or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Sorry. Before we move on, I do want to acknowledge the thing that Worf says about, like, having difficulty interacting with yourself, and, like, he makes a I believe he makes a point about like, you know, maybe maybe it's like seeing things.
I have it written
Yeah.
down. He goes, well, perhaps it might be more of a matter of seeing something in your double, something you do not like in yourself.
Which is like exactly, which honestly, like that happens with parents and children a lot of the time. Is parents will see things in their children that they don't like about themselves, and then they take it out on their kids, which is fucked, but it's what happens.
Okay, I don't know why this whole episode I legit thought that there was some nefarious shit going on. Because then I also wrote here, so like they're in the cave, and I thought Twiker was gonna try to kill Riker.
Yeah.
And so Twiker he stops. Okay, so they're like in there and he's just kind of standing there, and he's like, oh, you want to do the job because you're in charge, but Twiker's like, girl, I don't know this cavern, you do. Maybe you want to like guide us, I guess. Lead the way. But oh no, there's some kind of radiation leak, which like truly doesn't make much of a difference, because like Riker goes and does a thing with a lever and like it's fine. But I think they do this because Twiker immediately is like, well, we're all gonna fucking die, this is calling it now. And I was like, oh shit, okay, that's an interesting
he gives up
route
real
that we're
quick.
going. Yeah. Okay, so now they're crossing this bridge, and it gives out when Twiker is trying to go across, and honestly, that was a twist. That shocked me. And so Riker then is like reaching down to grab Twiker, and he's like shouting at him to like climb and to like hold on to him, but Twiker is like ready to go after like 3 seconds. He's like, just let me go. And Riker's like, I'm literally falling into this like abyss with you now.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, fucking climb, man, help me. Eventually they get him up. They're fine. Yay. Riker's like, not today, Satan. And like they get across the bridge.
Yeah, like maybe don't put the gun to your head immediately. Like just
yeah.
like try a little bit.
And like I guess almost dying together bonded them or something.
I think it's then, like a Twiker like sees that, like, because it's implied that like Twiker sees original recipe Riker as like kind of a like pussy, basically, that he's like, oh, you're so like, you know, you're overly cautious, you don't take any risks, and like you're just lame, and like you probably like you hate me, so you're probably like just gonna like, you know, leave me to die or whatever. And this proves to Twiker that it's like, no, like Riker is not like just he's not cautious because he's afraid. He's cautious because he has like a bit more experience and is like a little smarter about things now, and like he, like, despite not liking you, he's not gonna let you die. Like he doesn't he's not gonna easily give up. So he sees the Twiker starts to see the virtues in the
Riker.
in Riker. Yeah, he starts to see the virtues in Riker, and how like the changes he's made as a person.
That said, I don't like the way they went about it in this scene.
No, it's very like, all our problems are fine now.
Well, no, it isn't that bothers me about it. I would be okay with all your problems are fine now thing. It's that suddenly the flaw that they created for second Riker is that he gives up too easily, and I'm just like, where did that come from, though?
Yeah, they just kind of pulled that one out of their ass a bit.
Yeah, like they could have done something where he was ready to like charge in head first, and that would have been a mistake. But that isn't what they did. They went for he's timid about it instead, or not timid, that he gives up super easily, and like that doesn't make sense for not only the kind of person that he sees himself as, but the kind of person who managed to survive.
Yeah,
years.
that I was thinking the same thing. That if he was someone who gave up, then he would not have lasted 8 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they could have done he's too headstrong and like charges in too fast,
too furious.
Yes. They could have done that and then had him like slip and almost die, and then have Riker rescue
exactly.
him. That would have, I think, been more effective.
I don't think it works in this particular situation, but I will say that some of those like some of those people that are like really like, you know, some of those people that like throw caution to the wind, you know, go in guns blazing and all that stuff, like a lot of those people do give up really easily, like when their shit doesn't go to plan, you know, because they're not really thinking it through, you know, and like surviving and like trying to like be persistent and stuff like that. It's a little antithetical to that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, we're so close to the end, you guys, of the recap. Okay, so then we cut to, we're done. That mission is fucking ended, and we didn't see the rest of it. They got the database. They're going to drop Twyker off with the Gandhi, and Troy staying on the Enterprise. So, Twyker and Troy are saying goodbye to each other, and then Riker arrives at the door. It is kind of awkward, but Riker has a gift for Twyker. And it's the bone, but there better be 2 bones than that Riker owned, because if he gave the single one away, like we better see another trombone performance by Riker.
I mean, don't forget about the mall. He can get another bone.
Oh, yeah, I guess he can. Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. I forgot. Okay, that's okay.
Remember, this is the future. They can replicate basically anything they want.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I just thought like he would have like, you know, cinema, or maybe this is, oh no, he said this is like theirs. So I was like, I thought he would have like more of an emotional attachment to his bone, but
even then, bone, like if it
bones for all, I guess.
If it's a sentimental boner, then it's not like the worst thing to give it to Twyker, because like I mean he has nothing left of his old life, so
yeah. Okay, so Twyker he's gonna go into the ship, and he's decided his new name. He wants to be called Thomas. And I wrote, cool, another name that does not suit that face, but whatever, I guess.
It's because that's Riker's middle name is Tom. So he's
but it doesn't
which
suit
they
him
established
either.
in this episode. They could have picked
William
anything.
Thomas Riker.
I hate it.
They were thinking of like lots of different things, and they jumped through a bunch of different possibilities. And Maggie, one of them was Tiberius, and I'm just
oh God,
man, you could have done it, and it would have been way more cringe.
Yeah, Dory, here's why that's cringe. That is Captain Kirk's middle name.
Ooh, even I did know that.
Yeah, James Tiberius Kirk.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm not opposed to the name Thomas in general. I just feel like Jonathan Frakes does not look like his name is Thomas.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same way that the name Will always throws me off with him too. Like, this is Thomas from Alaska. Sure it is. Okay.
So, Dory, little bit of behind the scenes tidbit regarding this episode. It could have gone very differently, but both Rick Berman and Michael Piller like shot it down pretty heavily. But the earliest iteration of this did not see Will survive.
So I was fucking right. I kept thinking Twyker was gonna fucking die.
Wait. So Twyker.
It did not see Will survive.
Original recipe was gonna die.
And then what? Twyker was gonna take over? Hard no.
That's
I
right.
would have hated that.
So what they were going to do is Data was going to be promoted to second in command.
No.
And it would have created a continual drama on the ship, because suddenly they would have a way that they felt comfortable using Troy to create like interpersonal drama on the ship, because they've always struggled to use Troy in stories. They don't do a very good job with it quite often. And this would have given them a good way to make use of it, but also a way to continue to use Riker in like more interesting developments, because now you had a character who had to like deal with things in a completely different dynamic than he had before. So I think the idea wasn't like, it had merit, but I agree with Rick Berman and Michael Piller on this, in that A, it probably would have been too big of a change.
Yeah.
But B, they wanted to go in the direction of taking TNG onto the big screen after this, and having a character there who was not actually present for the first 6 years of experience with all those people, it would really take away from it.
Yeah, see, I don't hate that idea. I do like the premise of that, but that's really unnecessary, especially for a character that's already working. Like, Riker as a character and as, like, a element of the show works already. Yep. Like, there's no reason to change that up.
Also, that would wreck me.
Yeah.
You kill Riker this far into this, like, I sobbed with Yar in season 1.
Yeah.
Imagine 6 seasons in, they kill Riker. I would, oh my god. Oh my gosh.
And then how could you believe your Trey anymore?
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the ultimate betrayal. I did just think
betray.
Oh, I did just think of a Fast and Furious thing for you.
Ooh.
2 Riker, too many.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't kill Riker.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And
me too. I think it was the right choice.
Like, that does present some interesting possibilities. Like, one that I immediately think of, like, not like besides Troy stuff, is you could have some crew that are, like, resentful of Twyker being like, you know, you're not him. Like, I want the original Riker back.
We all want the original Riker back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could create some very interesting dynamics.
Yeah.
But in the end, I definitely think it was a better choice to not do that.
For sure. And also, this deep into the series is, like,
yeah,
it's kind of a lot. Like, if they'd done that this deep into the series, that to me is like they're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And we'll definitely see some instances in season 7 of them running out of ideas.
For sure.
But we won't get into that today, obviously. All in all, this is a very strong episode to me. Oh, Dory, did you know that this episode had another first on it? There was a cameo from somebody.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't recognize her right away, if at all. We would have heard about her quite a bit when we were young. But the transporter chief who's there in, like, I don't know, one scene. Well, not chief. The transporter person who's there in, like, one scene. The woman operating the transporter. She is Mae Jemison, who was the first African American in space.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This is... Yeah. I knew she was in the show, but I always forget what episode she's in. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I forgot it was, like, such a pivotal episode, too. Like, damn. But, yeah, so there we go. That was her in the transporter room.
Oh, cool. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't notice. The only
No, most people wouldn't. That's the thing. Because, like, we would have heard a lot about her when we were growing up. Because it was a big thing when she had gone up into space, and we were taught quite a bit of it, at least when I was going to school too.
I don't,
because it was still somewhat relevant at
honestly,
the time.
the name isn't familiar to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
But I don't know, and like I learned about some astronauts when I was a kid, but her name is not familiar. Like, I know Roberta Bondar, who I saw in real life once.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. The point is that, like, a lot of times, like, real astronauts, like, got involved with the show and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. She, so when this episode aired, it was, like, fairly recently from how recently she had been into space.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. I would not have been aware of anything at this point in 1993. Oh, no. I would not have known anything.
Yeah, she went up in 92.
Yeah, I was I was like 4 or 5 at that point.
Oh, I would not have. I was barely. No, I would have. Okay, that makes more sense. She went up in 92. That I would have basically no familiarity of her. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I think Jeff, you're what, 2 years older than us?
Yeah,
that might have been just enough age difference for, like, you to learn about her and us, like, not really too.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, I would have heard about it years after it happened, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, I really wouldn't have been aware of it when I was, like, 5.
Yeah.
But it was definitely something, because we all did a fucking, we all did, like, a segment on space when we were young.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that got talked a lot about, at least in the class that I had. About
okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, like, a little bit of space stuff, but, like, not really.
I think I remember planets.
Didn't learn about it. I also went to Catholic school.
And, I went to public school.
Dirty public school.
Yeah. Like a peasant.
That's that's kind of like it was a weird dynamic, but like when like growing up like in Catholic school, if you're not familiar, like in I don't know if it's just in Ontario or all of Canada, anyway, the Catholic school board gets government funding on top of like whatever they get like from the church and donations and stuff like that. So a lot of times the Catholic schools are much better funded than the public schools. And yeah, at least at my school, we the attitude towards public school kids was always like, oh, that's like the bad kids, and that's like the dirty school and shit like that, which is like not true, obviously, but that's why I said that.
There was a Catholic school, like, well, I mean, it's near my parents' house growing up, like a Catholic high school, and it was so fucking close to my parents' house, but we're very much not Catholic, and so we went to like a public school that instead of like a 5 to 10 minute walk from the house, it was like a half-hour walk from the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then the Catholic school had some kind of art program, and I remember always being like, God damn it, my public school fucking sucks.
Yeah, that is the one. That is one of the.
My high school, my elementary school was like 5 seconds from my house. Also public.
Yeah, that's one of the small silver linings with Catholic schools is that Catholicism, like I think Christianity in general, but Catholicism especially, like really values art and music because they sort of they see it as like you know it's a way to draw you in, right?
Oh yeah,
like,
I've been to St. Peter's Basilica. I know the Catholics love their art. I've been there. I've seen it all. I've been to the Vatican.
Yeah, so a lot of Catholic schools will have like actually like decent like arts and music because the church kind of puts value on it.
Meanwhile,
and I know especially
no, I'm just like, meanwhile, I'll give you an idea of my high school experience. When I was in high school, I got a visual arts award for character.
For character?
Yep.
What does that mean?
Listen, your guess is as good as mine. I literally actually found it recently when my dad dropped some stuff off at my apartment. And, I found it in there. And I was like, yeah, that low-key tracks. I assume it means I was the only one who was nice to my art teacher in grade 11. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's
that
so
about
weird.
Sums it up for me.
Yeah. And also, like, I also just want to make clear, like, every sort of religion and culture values music and art and stuff because they, you know, they understand that that's a way to keep people in and draw people, right? But Catholicism is like, they fucking doubled down on that shit. Like, that's, like, all their churches are super fucking, like, nice and shit, and, like, they're always, like, putting money into, you know...
Oh, yeah.
Instruments and art and all that kind of shit.
When I was in Italy, I went to so many churches and museums and galleries where it was just like Jesus art on Jesus art and Jesus art. And I'm like, we get it. You guys love Jesus and Jesus art. By the end of my trip, I was like, I am Jesused out.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of Jesus. Like, it's a very Catholic country in general, and like you were in freaking Rome, where the Vatican is.
Oh yeah, Rome, Florence, Venice, and Milan.
Well, that's the thing is the church used to like specifically like employ, like, they were patrons of the art. They would hire artists just to be on staff for the church, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And musicians too. Like, I think so, like, if you remember the beginning of like the movie Amadeus, right? He's at the beginning of the movie, he's working for the Pope, right? So that kind of shit like happened all the time. That's why there's so much of that, because they were really invested in that stuff. And for a long time, like in Europe and stuff, like the church was like the only means of getting an education, right? So that's why the Vatican has like that secret vault of like artifacts and all this different shit, is because they they saw as being like the keepers of knowledge, and like they saw value in knowledge and art and stuff, but they're like, we should make sure that they're using these skills for the church, for the benefit of the church.
Yes.
And they're also
Right.
going to hoard it. I've seen Angels and Demons.
Exactly.
I've seen that movie.
The Library of Alexandria was not. That's not a church thing. Obviously, but it's semi-related in that wasn't some like noble like, we're keeping knowledge and stuff like that. It was a status symbol. It was like a way for that empire to be like, look at us, look at all the books and scrolls we have. We're like, we're the best because we have all this shit. And they would like when ships would come into port and stuff, they'd steal their shit. They'd either outright steal it or like steal it to make copies and stuff. So they made sure they got copies of like every single like scroll or book or whatever that came into Alexandria. And that's why it was burnt down. It wasn't like, oh, we hate knowledge. It was like, we're burning down like your this monument to your empire, to your your oppression and shit like that. I mean, I don't remember like who burnt it down, but like that was kind of the reason. It wasn't because like they were trying to stifle knowledge. It was because that was a status symbol of the empire, and they were like, we took over your shit, so we're burning down your library.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as like, destroying their palace or whatever, like an emperor's palace or whatever.
It also, I mean, it wasn't quite that simple. Like, history loves drama.
Yeah.
And like the burning down of the Library of Alexandria was not all of this knowledge was suddenly lost. Like, a lot of knowledge was not necessarily there. It was a status symbol, you're
Yeah.
right. And it wasn't like the actual be-all, end-all of where a lot of that stuff was located.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the equivalent is like for the Library of Alexandria is like it's a similar thing to like your empire's pile of jewels. It functioned in the same way. It's like, look at all these jewels and gold we have, and the library was like, look at all these books and shit that we have. How did we end up talking about the
Dory?
fucking Library of Alexandria?
I don't know.
So Dory, I have a question for you.
Oh boy. Okay. I might have an answer for you.
Okay, so I came to the realization that this episode proves something about the transporters, and I want to know what you think about it.
Okay.
So, the science-y tech shit, when they beam up Riker from the planet 8 years ago, they didn't think they had enough of a lock on him, so they needed a second transporter beam, which would, I don't know, double the amount of strength that they can transport with. It doesn't make a lot of sense, okay? It turned out the second beam wasn't needed, and the second beam bounces back and goes back down to the planet. Okay. However, what that means, what that proves, is that when you are, decompiled by the transporter and then recompiled back up on the ship or the pad or wherever it is that you go, that is not you. And the proof of this is that you can't just make a copy of, like, actual physical things that exist. So another Riker was compiled out of, I don't know, whatever data it had, using whatever molecules and things it had to work with. I don't know if it's got, like, a big thing in the back that just, like, prints people or whatever the fuck. But the point is, you die every time that you are transported, and a new you is made in exactly the same image that you were when you were decompiled.
If you could see my...
How do you feel
Well,
about
if you could
this?
see my face right now, my eyes are the whitest they've ever been. Oh boy.
Yeah. It's a classic thought experiment of like,
Yes.
Ooh.
is that still actually you?
Oh no. Oh no.
Are you going to be thinking about this every time that we watch an episode where the transporter is used now?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know if I'll remember it once we finish recording.
Yeah.
But in
that's
this
okay.
moment, in this exact moment, I am.
I think in this case that's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh my god. Well, oh no.
Well, I mean, you're not going through a transporter, so.
No.
Well, not
Oh
yet.
god. Oh no. Okay, wait. Okay. So, you come apart and then you come back together. And
But it's different molecules that it's using to put back together. And the proof of that is that it created two Rikers, and it couldn't have used the same molecules to make two different people because there aren't enough molecules to make two
But they
people.
said that they use the same pattern. That doesn't matter?
Yes. The
Yeah.
pattern is what the transport... It's essentially a schematic.
It's like a blueprint.
Oh.
So it's like basically like, okay, let's say you take like a wooden box, right? So the transporter, it's like, okay, here's the blueprints for this wooden box, and then it destroys the box and creates an entirely new box in the same way, but using different wood.
Oh my god, this is like saying that Twiker is like a fax.
Yeah, I mean, he is. It's a facsimile.
Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh no. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, so like if you had an apple, right? And then you manage to like deconstruct the apple at the molecular level, right?
It becomes a potato.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it becomes a bunch of
Yeah,
molecules.
but then you reconstruct the apple exactly the same way, like down to the molecule exactly the same way as the old apple, but the molecules they used aren't the exact same ones. However, it's built exactly the same. Like, you can find no discernible difference. Besides,
So then it's
like,
wild that this doesn't happen more often then. That there's not more doubles.
Yeah, actually, that's something that I was thinking about when we did the episode. It's that I made a note of it. The way that this happened makes it incredibly easy to clone somebody.
Yeah.
Because, like, we've had situations
Like,
where...
they could prevent death very easily from
Because, like, I feel
Yeah.
like we've had other episodes where shit has happened with the transporter that I feel like this could have happened.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's usually supposed to be some, like, I don't know, some filters in place or whatever. Like, you usually don't have to do it, like, between, like, they had to, like, connect, like, two transporters together or something, I think it was. Like, I don't know. I think what it was is that it was the specific, like, atmospheric conditions. I think, like, it's been a while, so I don't remember the exact explanation, but this is what I'm remembering, is that it was basically like Twiker's pattern got bounced off the atmosphere and back down, while original recipe like managed to make it through.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think it's like it's unlikely to happen in other circumstances because it was like a very particular thing to this planet, I think.
Well, they don't really specify that it's super particular to this planet, just that there was like a wall at the right frequency that bounced it back down, and I'm just like, yeah, that means you could just do that.
True.
Like, this is Star Trek. They could create a wall of frequencies. They do it all the time. That's what the shields are.
For sure. But also, I think the Federation probably has some regulations against cloning.
Sure. I'm just saying that, like,
It can be
is
done.
now very possible from a scientific perspective within the Star Trek universe.
Yeah, for sure. We also have to consider that the transporter is whatever the writers want it to be.
Yep, that's a good point. Can it go through the shields today? Who knows?
It has like some rules, but they're more like guidelines.
So, Dory, I'm sorry to place that on you.
Well, I'm gonna try to block it out.
Yeah, because there's a similar
now.
dilemma. There's a similar dilemma, which is the ship of Theseus, which is like if you have a ship and you like one by one replace parts of the ship to the point where, you know, no original part of the ship exists, is it still the same ship?
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, I like that one.
And so the reason we
I would say
one of the reasons you
yes.
think, yeah, because it was one by one. Because here's the thing, that happens with humans.
I was
Because
thinking about that too with plastic
Yeah.
surgery.
No, not with plastic surgery. Our cells die and refresh constantly. So like,
Oh.
I think it's like every, what is it, like every 5 or 10 years, none of the cells in your body are the same cells you had before.
I do love that you went with cells, and I was like, yeah, just because you got new boobs doesn't mean you're less of who you were before. Or a new nose, or whatever. That's the way I went. But yes, I do think that you change the parts, it's still the thing, because it's still the thing. It
Yeah.
doesn't...
But the thing is like if you did that all at once, it would be
Yeah.
a different ship, right?
Yes.
But because it's one by one, somehow that means it's not. That means it's still the same ship,
Yes.
even if you end up with no original parts.
Yeah.
I think it's because parts of it go on the journey continually. Like, there is a first part that was replaced, and that first part that is replaced has experienced everything else that ship has experienced.
Yeah, because there's always like there's always a history somewhere, you know, on the ship. Yeah, because I agree. Like I'm like, yeah, it's still the same ship, but I could never really articulate why I felt that way. But I think that's a good way. I think that's a
fair.
good way to put it, where it's like, yeah, like, you know, those parts are like part of the journey of this ship, and its lifespan.
So I think we're almost ready to move
Yes.
on, but one last thing that I wanted to put out there, because I couldn't think of a good point earlier to mention it. Dory, I'm sure you are aware that the people behind the scenes of Star Trek and, you know, the actors and whatnot have all had very good relationships and connections to each other over the years. And Marina Sirtis and Jonathan Frakes have remained friends throughout all this time. And apparently, Marina Sirtis teases him about it because she tells him that she always liked Tom better than Will.
Okay, here's
really
okay.
funny.
I do want to say here's my sort of issue with their relationship. Like if like by the end, if like Riker and Troy get together by like the very end, I'm fine. I'm on board. But the part that like I didn't like Tom. Oh fuck! I can't call him Tom. That's so gross. Twiker, and
What's so funny is that Twiker works both for, what did you have it stand for again?
Twin Riker.
Yeah, Twin Riker. It works for Twin Riker and Tom Riker too. Twiker.
Ew, gross.
Oh, you're
Oh
right.
God, I inadvertently did it. I killed it. I did such a good job with my nickname that I just nailed it multiple ways.
Yeah.
Good
Oh
job,
my
Dory.
God. I mean, this isn't the best nickname I've given, but I think it's
No.
decent.
I don't think anything will beat Focard for me.
Yeah, Focard is pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's kind of my... To me, if anything, would feel so fucking weird, because if Troy started dating Twiker, that would, to me, feel so weird on like, the Riker perspective of, like, so she was she had feelings for me enough this whole time that the second he was like, yep, let's fucking get together, she was on board immediately.
Yeah.
And then all I would be like thinking about is like, okay, was all of our time together then? Since I've been on the I mean, I know they have some flirty shit and they kiss, whatever, but like I'd and I wouldn't think worse of her or anything. I just would be like, has she been like she's had this like what unrequited love then this whole time, and that would make me feel bad.
No, I don't think Riker would view it that way because
Well, I know Riker
don't
wouldn't,
think-
but I view it that way.
yeah, because to Riker
okay.
he's like, yeah, it shouldn't be surprising. They had a relationship. They were in love. Riker was the one that ended it, right?
Yeah.
So to him,
Yeah,
it shouldn't.
that's
It
very
shouldn't.
important.
Like, it wouldn't really be a surprise that that Troy would fall back for him, because I don't think he's not really pursuing Deanna. Like, they sort of have a flirty thing, but I don't get the vibe that he's like wants to get back together. You know?
Not at
No,
all.
that's the thing, is like he doesn't, and that's why to me, like, then him realizing, oh, but she's had feelings this whole time, like that would be kind of like heartbreaking to me, that like she's had this unrequited love for him this whole time.
So-
and that would just make me feel sad, and it
Yeah.
would feel sad for her, because
So,
she
Dory-
deserves better than like just pining after someone who this is not his the priority, and that's sad. They
Here-
both
yeah.
deserve
Here's
happy.
the thing about that.
Yes.
It's not that she has had the feelings this whole time. It's that her feelings were never completely resolved. That doesn't mean that she's pining after him. It means that she did get over it, and she left it in the past, and that's why, like, she was resistant at the beginning. But she wasn't just seeing what do you call it, the Riker that she's known for the last 8 years in this new person. She was seeing the person that she had to let go, almost exactly as he was. So it's not that she's pining after him, who he is. It's that she's pining after, well, not pining after, it's that she still feels like she lost something over what they did have, over what the person that he was had with her.
Because new circumstances can bring up old feelings, and I'll use a personal example. I had a lot of issues growing up with my dad specifically, and it was a lot of things that like I eventually like worked through and like had moved on from, and I found a way to like cope with it and all that stuff, and I was like fine with it, and I truly felt that I was fine with it. But recently my dad has gotten really sick, and that has brought up a lot of old feelings. Like, it's brought up a lot of feelings and stuff from the past that I thought I was over, but it feels fresh again, you know? So I think that's a similar thing to what's happened with Troy. It's like, she moved on, you know, she's happy with her life, she's doing good, and then this thing from the past pops up that she can't ignore, that brings back all these old feelings, you know, about him. And I could really easily see the temptation to like just slip back into it, you know, especially if it was like, for me it was a bad thing, but for her, like the way it ended was bad, but she liked the relationship. It was like a thing she kind of missed. So like to be able to have it back, you know, is very tempting, and I would understand. And I don't think that would necessarily mean that she had been, you know, secretly pining the whole time. It's just like this circumstance came up and it brought up a lot of old shit.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. I don't like it.
Yeah, I definitely still, like, Riker
I'm
would
not
still
on...
definitely have, yeah, no, I'm definitely not on board with it. Riker would still have feelings about it, and I definitely think he would feel guilty about, like, you know, the same reason he feels guilty in this episode about the decisions he made and how he hurt her. But I don't think he would be thinking about it in terms of, like, oh, she'd been secretly missing me this whole time.
I would feel sad.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. if Riker and Troy want to get together, near the end, I'm on board, but I don't. I enjoy their relationship right now. They're like just good friends, and like they have a little flirty, which is nice. But like, I don't know. I'm not. Twiker. I can't with Twiker.
No. I fully agree with you there. Like,
also,
it's not.
I find it. I mean, I guess because I've never had to. This might be because I've never had to face my double of myself, but I do find it wild that Riker immediately was so hostile to Twiker. Like they because like Riker.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier, and I was a little frustrated by it. I get it, but
I don't because like because even Data said this in another line that like that the rest of the exchange with Worf. Is that when Worf is like he's not easy to get along with, and then Data is like, well, Commander Riker and Lieutenant Riker seem like they have trouble getting along with each other, but he does acknowledge that like Riker is not someone that's hard to get along with, and yet they are butting heads so aggressively. And to me, that's just like Riker is someone who tends to get along with most people. So the idea that like immediately him and Twiker are like at odds is just.
Well, I think I've mentioned this before, where the one time that Riker consistently does not get along with people is when he thinks that they are not doing their duty, like they're not representing Starfleet well enough, they're not performing as an officer well enough, that sort of thing. If he thinks they don't have respect for the uniform, like he tends to be really hostile towards that person.
But he was he was kind of hostile towards Twiker right from the beginning when like they were on the ship.
Well, he didn't trust him at the beginning.
So to build on top of that, like Jeff brings up a good point where it's like he doesn't know if this is like actually him or not yet, that sort of thing. It might be a trick sort of deal. But I think it is going off of what Worf said, where it's like a self-hate thing. Like, I think he does not like the person he used to be. So to be confronted with that is like he's immediately defensive. Of like, oh, this is a person I do not like. Right? Because he remembers what he was like,
I could actually see myself in the same situation, personally.
Yeah, because that's what I like. If I think about meeting, like, I mean, 8 years ago, like, from now, probably would have been fine. But, like, if I think about meeting my high school self, I'm like, you are fucking terrible, dude. You suck ass.
And not only that, the high school self would have looked at you and just be like, yeah, well, you're fucking lame. Look at what a fucking loser you are.
Exactly.
I don't know. So, I look back at my high school self and I got an art award for character, so that's pretty cool.
No, I was pretty shitty in like I was a pretty shit person in high school.
I didn't do anything in high school. I did not do work. Riker would have hated me. I don't know if I don't think I'd hate my younger self. I don't think I would be mean to myself. I don't think I would be hostile towards myself though either.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be like, what the fuck's happening? But like, I feel like I'd be nice.
Yeah.
Because to be polite, but that might just be like a thing of like, most women are trained to just be polite regardless of the situation.
I think it's a different circumstance for you because you don't really have a problem with the person you used to be, right?
I mean, I wasn't great. I was an idiot, but like I wasn't doing anything like crazy, or I didn't have like, I mean, I've definitely changed had my growth of understanding the world and whatever, but I don't think, I mean, I didn't have any kind of crazy, at least I guess I grew up in a pretty liberal household, and I didn't have any real crazy hot takes that would be seen today as like questionable by any means. I don't know. I guess I just
besides
like, I was
anything
an idiot.
that was like era appropriate.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
like,
I was an idiot, but I don't think I like sucked that much. If anything, I suck more
like,
now. I'm worse now than I was when I was younger.
Like, at least for me, it's like first of all, the big one is the opinions I used to have, right? But I also think that my personality I would not get along with, because like when you have certain opinions, sometimes your personality is a certain way, and mine definitely was. Like I was also an extremely angry, unhappy person. So like to have to deal with that, I'd be like, no fucking shot, dude. Like, no.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I had an aura of undeserved confidence around myself that I know I would find fucking insufferable now.
Yeah. And not to say that you, like, someone's also capable of being an asshole, but also having, like their opinions are fine.
True. Yeah.
It's rare, though, but it happens. Yeah, I think, like, I totally understand, what you're saying, Dory. I just think, like, I'm just thinking back to, like, when you're someone that, like, does have this part of themselves that they're ashamed of, and, like, a lot of self-hatred and, like, anger and regrets and stuff about the past, it's like I can see, like, really, like, being hostile towards that past version of yourself, of like, man, I know you, like, I know you from the inside, so like I really don't want to deal with your shit.
Oh, I get, like, I mean, I have definitely have regrets. I've done stupid shit, but I don't know. If anything, I kind of would look at my past self with more sympathy. Because, like, the decisions I made and the regrets that I have, like, I know why I made those. I mean, they were dumb, but
Yeah.
I don't know. And I would be nice to younger me, I guess. I don't know. I have, my own complicated issues with myself, but I guess it's not so much about me as, like, a human being as it is more like, I don't know how to explain it. I guess it's not so much character related, because, like, as I said, I was like an idiot, but I don't think I was like not I don't think I did anything particularly
Yeah, you're
shitty,
like,
or
yeah,
like, I don't think,
like you were an idiot and a jerk in a normal, like, that's growing up kind of way.
yeah,
Yeah.
young people making dumb decisions, but I don't know. I think also just, like, because of, I don't know, just other stuff, I would just feel like sympathy towards myself of, like, knowing what comes next.
I guess it also, it depends on, like, where you're at in life, because like, I keep still specifically thinking about my high school self, and I know my high school self was not it, like, would not be receptive to anything I had to say. Like,
Yeah.
like, there would be, like, I know myself in that era, and there would not have been any reasoning with me. Like, not unless it was, like, over the course of a long time, which is, like, kind of what happened.
That's fair.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. But if I think of myself in, like, my early 20s, like, maybe, like, even, like, college age and stuff like that, I think, yeah, I don't know if I would be immediately hostile to that version of myself. I think I would try to tell myself things, but I think I would, like, I'd give myself a chance first before being like, okay, dude, you suck. So I guess it depends on what version of yourself you're meeting, right? Like, high school self, no shot. Like, that person sucks. I never want to encounter them. Once I get into college, for a little bit, not living at home for a bit, like, that's when I'm, like, I see myself, like, that's when I feel like I could have been, like, I could have been reasonable with myself, and I probably could have gotten along with myself.
That makes sense.
But yeah, like, I do understand a circumstance in which you might be immediately hostile towards a different version of yourself.
I mean, like, if we were talking about Bizarro world of myself, then yeah, I probably would.
Yeah.
Would be like, who the fuck?
And here's the thing, I just want to bring this up. Like, so I do understand why, like, Twyker is just, like, Riker from 8 years ago, because, like, that's the story they want to tell and all that stuff. However, I don't think that's realistic, because I don't think a Riker that was, like, stuck on a planet for 8 years would still be the same guy. He wouldn't be our Riker for sure, but he would not be the same person he was 8 years ago.
Yes.
Like, that experience would have changed him quite fundamentally.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, and but I think I think it's pretty clear from the way they did this episode that he's meant to be kind of the same guy he used to be.
Okay, I think we've gone in circles.
Yes,
a little bit.
yeah, I think it's time to move on to favorite moments and lines.
Okay. I liked Riker had those, like, 2 lines. One, I liked when he told Troy to be careful about Twyker. Would have made, like, the same choices that he did. And I was like, oh, that's a good point. And then I liked Riker's, I've never settled for anything in my life. I know what I want. I know what I've got. And you'd be lucky to do so well, Lieutenant. I liked that.
Yeah.
I like Worf saying that he probably wouldn't get along with himself. I liked the beginning of the episode when Riker was playing the trombone and Troy
Yeah, that was cute.
kept saying play Freebird, play Nightbird, and I enjoyed that a lot. Maybe that's it. Oh no, I like that Troy was like, yeah, no, I'm not like running off or whatever right now. I'm like, have an established life here. I'm happy. I worked hard to get where I am, and I'm like, I'm good. And I was like, yes, Troy.
Yeah.
Advocate for yourself. I love that for you. But I guess that's kind of it. There wasn't like, this isn't a favorite episode of mine.
Yeah. I also really like the poker scene.
Yeah.
I just love a good, like, Riker, like talking down. You know, when he really gets heated and passionate, I always think he does a good job with that. Like, I like those scenes. Yeah, and yeah, Troy being like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm not giving up my life for this." Like, and I totally understand her, like giving in at a certain point, like when they make out in like the dojo or whatever. But yeah, I like that ultimately she's like, you know, yeah, like, no, you know, this, you know, this is in the past now, you know, we can't, like, topical, but we're not going back, which, for any future listeners, is the current, campaign slogan for Kamala Harris.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
It is? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're
That's a terrible slogan.
not necessarily, because it's like we're not going back to the past, we're looking to the future, right? Her whole deal is like, we're not going
Okay.
back. Like, we're not having Trump again, we're not going back to his bullshit. Like, we're,
Well, it's better than Build Back Better.
yeah.
It should just be, we did it, Joe. We
Yeah.
did it. That, truly, that and Pokemon Go to the Polls are my favorite political quotes of all times.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, there's one better one than that, I
Did
think.
Pokemon
And
go to
that
the
is,
polls?
Yes. Tom Mulcair during the the 2015 run where Trudeau won their big majority.
wait.
He was standing in the middle of like a town hall thing, and he was just like, healthcare, pharmacare, dental care,
Oh, I remember this.
mole care.
yeah, that's lame as shit.
And
bro.
then he like smiled, and everyone cheered for him, and he did that like creepy Tom Mulcair smile because like
God.
Angry Tom is not a smiler.
Dude, the campaign consultants were fucking ass on that campaign. Like,
Yep. I mean, it's the NDP. What do you
yeah.
expect?
Anyway, because, like, for any Americans that happen to be listening, like, basically they took this guy who was like well known for being like fiery in Parliament and like standing up like to conservatives and shit, and then they turned him into a total fucking dud, like when he actually ran for prime minister.
They're like, we have to make you friendly like the last guy, and I'm like, not gonna work.
Yeah, and this was this was before Trump, so people were like, that fiery shit isn't gonna work like on a federal, on like a leadership scale. What, it's like they were fucking wrong.
Yep.
No, but I did think of a better one than that.
Okay.
Please clap.
Yes.
Jeb Bush.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, okay. Jeb takes the cake. That's true.
Oh, so sorry, the Pokemon Go to the Polls reminded me. I saw a TikTok recently that the guy was like, if Hillary Clinton was running right now, she would say, we gotta get people to hawk to the polls.
No.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Or
but,
sorry, go to the polls or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah. Pokemon Go to the Polls is like
It's iconic.
it is iconic. It is iconic. Not in the way she wanted it to be, but it is iconic.
Like, I'm gonna think about that for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good. Okay, so mine actually was Data and Worf having a discussion about the man. The dialogue is just so tight in this episode. There are so many great like one-on-one scenes.
Yeah.
But that one I really like because Data is in his like I'm trying to understand humanity mood, and I really enjoy his mannerisms when he's in those. Also, his like low key just agreeing with Worf that he's not easy to get along with.
Yeah. Well, if Data is honest, like, yeah, Data's honest to a fault sometimes. But like, you always know what you're gonna get with Data, so
True. Yes.
that is an advantage. Okay, so time for predictions for the next episode. The next episode is called Timescape. And it's a very ensemble episode. With four, I won't tell you who, so you have the opportunity to pick your team. There are 4 members of the Enterprise crew that went to a conference and are on their way back from the conference. And when they encounter the Enterprise, it is frozen in time.
Oh.
Yes. And so that is what I'll give you for now, and I'll think of some more if you need some more.
Oh my goodness.
There you go.
Okay.
So who's your 4?
Oh goodness. Okay. I'm trying to think who would be like a fun grouping of 4. My first thought, I mean, I'm partial to this grouping, but I mean, I'm partial to a lot of different combos. Oh my god, I forgot. Oh no. Okay, hold on. I forgot someone. Okay, wait. Only 4? Oh god. That's so many good combos.
Okay, how many do you have right now?
I have everyone of different. Because at first I was like, okay, Dr. C, Data, Worf, Riker. But then I'm like, Geordi, Geordi gotta be there. But then I was like, Geordi's there. I want Troy there because I like them. They're dynamic. We don't get to see it enough. And I'm like, that's too many people. I do love Picard did not occur to me once as part of the 4. For some reason, Picard is not in the 4 in this scenario for me. I think I'm going to go with Geordi, Data, Worf, and Dr. C.
Geordi, Data, Worf, and Dr. C. Okay.
Or instead of Dr. C, Troy. But I feel like Dr. C is more likely, because I think Troy actually did go to a conference or something, but I feel like if we're going to do science-y, but Worf's not science-y, but I feel like Worf would like...
To be fair, I did not say what
there.
kind of conference it was.
I'm just assuming it's a science conference. Okay, I think my final 4 are Worf, Geordi, Data, Dr. C.
Okay.
And then I keep going back and forth between Troy and Dr. C for number 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Let's do Troy just for the fun of it.
All right.
Because
right.
Troy gets along, like, has, like, a good vibe with I mean, not that Dr. C doesn't, but, like, you know what? Let's do Troy. Troy's number 4. Sorry, Dr. C. But I feel like that could be a good combo. I watch him completely wrong, and it's the exact opposite. It's it's Picard, Riker, Dr. C, someone else. I don't know. No, that's what I think. That's what I'm going with.
All right. So now those 4 come upon the Enterprise frozen in time.
Okay, frozen in time.
And yeah, they are still normal time, everything. But they're literally frozen in time and space. So, what do you think happens with that?
Oh my god, you know who I just thought of who could have been part of that group?
Mm-hmm.
Barkley.
Oh my god, I did not even think of him.
Oh, I forgot about Berkeley.
Oh my god, I forgot about Reg completely. No, I forgot about Ro.
Oh. Oh, we haven't seen her in a while either, yeah.
Yeah, I miss her. She's so great. Okay, I think they're playing Shipwide Freeze Dance. And the music goes off and no one turns it back on again. They're all just freeze dance is you play the music and you dance and then someone presses pause and you're supposed to freeze on the spot. And if you move or you're caught, then like you're out.
Okay.
But I don't think that it's a huge freeze dance freeze competition shipwide. Maybe we haven't seen a crystalline entity in a while. Oh my god, Q. What if they're frozen because of Q? That would be great. Oh my god, to see Q again. It's been a hot minute since we've seen Q. Okay, I'm gonna say not our Q, but a different Q puts the pause because they're waiting. Oh, but then that makes me think that maybe Picard was on the shuttle then, because I feel like all the Qs want to talk to Picard. And I feel like they froze to wait till he comes back to talk to him. Fuck. Oh, no, because like my first thought is, okay, they go through like another wormhole, but I feel like they're constantly going through fucking wormholes. but that wouldn't, I feel like, stop the freeze the ship.
Yeah. Okay, I will give you one other thing. The Romulans are involved.
Oh.
Yeah. When they come upon the ship, they seem to be in battle with them.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
That's how they can tell they're, like, just frozen, because they see the battle, like, frozen in mid-space.
Oh. Okay, that does feel like a Q thing to do, though, to freeze everything. So that makes me think that Picard's got to be on the shuttle.
All right.
With the group then, because I feel like in my scenario, if Q pauses, it's because he's waiting for Picard to come back. Because he wants Picard there or whatever for something, and he doesn't like maybe how Riker's making the decisions or something, even though Riker's probably not doing anything wrong. Okay, fuck, that makes me have to rethink who's on the fucking ship. Okay. All right, well, okay, I hate to do this, but I think I'm gonna boot Worf off.
No.
I think then it's got to be Data, Geordi, Picard, and Troy on the shuttle. I think Q has frozen because this is happening, and Q because there's like this battle, and Q's like, no, Picard should be here for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
And then they get up to Q-nanigans.
Q-nanigans?
Yeah, as opposed to shenanigans.
Yeah, Q brings them onto the Romulan ship and everyone's frozen and they just like, move everyone's arms so they're about to poke themselves in the eye or like, put shit in front of them so when they unfreeze they trip over shit. And it's like, and I don't remember which X-Men movie it was, but they have Quicksilver and he like moves all this shit around in his like one scene where yeah, that's what I feel like
where he like taps the bullets and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
All right, yeah, and we'll let you off on like they do some technobabble shit to fix it, because like what else was going to be the solution, right?
Q unfreezing.
Yeah.
Q fixing everything. Yeah, I think it's Q.
All right. Okay, so if you want to see if Dory's correct, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.